Russia launches a slew of strikes against the Zaporizhia region of Ukraine, killing 4 and plunging many into darkness.
Almost 7 years on from the Brussels bombings that killed 32 people and injured hundreds, the trial has begun in a Belgian court.
Spain will face Morocco while Portugal will play against Switzerland in the knockout stage of the FIFA World Cup on Tuesday.
This is what's left of a district in the Zaporizhia region of Ukraine after Russia launched 70 missiles towards the country on Monday. According to Kyiv, most were shot down despite Moscow saying it had hit all of its 17 targets. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky nonetheless announced more casualties. He said, "Every Russian missile shot down is concrete proof that terror can be defeated, but unfortunately we still cannot give complete security to our sky. There were several hits. Unfortunately, there are victims. As of this time, there are 4 people killed in Russian strikes today. My condolences to their family and friends." The strikes again disrupted Ukraine's power grid, and this time neighbouring Moldova was also affected. A number of cities and towns were plunged into darkness, including Lviv. This resident of the city said, "It's impossible to get used to something like this, but you can certainly adapt. Human beings can adapt to everything. We have flashlights and power banks, everything you need to feel comfortable in this situation." Meanwhile, blasts hit 2 Russian air bases. Moscow blames Kyiv, although it hasn't claimed responsibility. The spokesperson for the Russian Defense Ministry said, despite the attempts of the Kyiv regime to disrupt the combat work of the Russian long-range aviation with a terrorist act, a massive strike was carried out by high-precision air and sea-based weapons on the system of military control and related targets of the defense complex, communication, energy and military facilities of Ukraine. Meanwhile, families continue to leave the newly liberated city of Kherson because of the constant Russian shelling there. Moscow's forces remain nearby, just on the other side of the Dnieper River.
Ukrainian officials have indicated that Ukrainian forces plan to continue offensive operations over the coming winter to capitalize on recent battlefield successes and prevent Russian forces from regaining the battlefield initiative. The Institute for the Study of War states that Ukraine's ability to maintain the military initiative and continue the momentum of its current operational successes depends on Ukrainian forces continuing to conduct successive operations through the winter 2022-2023. Now, the think tank says that Russia lost the initiative in summer after its offensive in Donbas culminated. Ukrainian forces gained and have retained the initiative since August 2022 and have been conducting a series of successful successive operations since then, liberating most of Kharkiv region in September, Kherson city in November, and is currently setting conditions for more Ukrainian pushes elsewhere this winter. Now, this could be the northeast of Ukraine, around the Svatove and Krymina area, where Ukrainian forces continue their counteroffensive operations. And some of the most fierce fighting is in the east of Ukraine, specifically that's around Bakhmut. Russian operations are continuing to expand manpower, ammunition and other military assets while making limited tactical gains that have limited operational utility, as the Institute for the Study of War has previously assessed. The UK Defence Ministry adds that Russia has prioritized Bakhmut as its main offensive effort since early August. However, the campaign has been disproportionately costly relative to these possible gains. There is a realistic possibility that Bakhmut's capture has become primarily a symbolic political objective for Russia. The capture of the town of Bakhmut would have limited operational value, although it would potentially allow Russia to threaten the larger urban areas of Kramatorsk and Sloviansk.
Almost 7 years after the Brussels bombings that killed 32 people and injured hundreds, the largest trial the country has ever organised has begun. 10 men stand accused of playing a role in the attacks that took place on the 22nd of March 2016 at Brussels International Airport and in a busy metro station in the EU quarter. Nearly 1,000 survivors, witnesses and experts are registered to attend the hearings.
Very stressed, also very anxious about what is going to happen. It's the first day, so it's obviously very difficult. I hesitated until the last moment and I told myself that we would have to be present at some point. There are also testimonies planned. So little by little, we'll see how it goes, and when you're accompanied, it's always easier.
A difficult day that brings back awful memories. Esmail Faisal Serra, who lost her sister in the metro bombings, has low expectations, though, for the trial.
I have no hatred. I have no hatred at all. I have never met any of them. Seeing them does nothing to me. I am at peace with myself. And as I said, I really don't hate the accused.
Of the 10 defendants, 9 are present here in Brussels. The question is whether or not they want to speak during the hearings. Their lawyers say it's necessary that they all be heard and that they can express themselves.
I really believe that the most important thing is to listen to the civil parties. It is dignity. It is listening to their suffering. And the concrete consequence for us will be to say we are not hiding behind the right to remain silent, but we are convinced that we must have a judicial debate and that we must speak. We must explain ourselves. We must answer the questions of the civil parties. We must also have responsibilities. It's not just the 9 people in the box who are responsible for what happened.
According to the timetable, the trial is expected to last between 6 and 8 months. Maeve McMahon, Euronews, Brussels.
Violent protests broke out in the Greek city of Thessaloniki late on Monday. The angry demonstrations followed a police shooting of a 16-year-old boy after he allegedly filled his vehicle at a petrol station and drove off without paying. The teenager remains in a critical condition in hospital. The officer accused of shooting him in the head has been arrested and suspended from duty. Around 1,500 people took part in the protest, which ended without any arrests or injuries reported.
Brazil is through to the quarterfinals following an emphatic 4-1 win over South Korea. The 5-time winners turned on their style as Vinicius Jr., Neymar, Richarlison and Lucas Paquetá all netted in the first half. South Korea was unable to trouble Tite's man. Brazil delivered a strong message to the World Cup rivals and showed why they are the favourites to go all the way in Qatar. From Doha, Euronews' Adel Halim has more.
And this means Brazil will now face Croatia in the quarterfinals after the 2018 finalists beat Japan in a penalty shootout earlier on Monday. After Daisen Maeda opened the scoring, Ivan Perisic got the equalizer to send the game to extra time. Japan pulled off 2 upsets in the opening round, stunning both Spain and Germany, but their miracle run has come to an end. Meanwhile, Croatia is now undefeated in 10 of its last 11 World Cup matches, the only blemish coming 4 years ago against France in the final. They'll now prepare for Friday's quarterfinal match against Brazil at Education City Stadium. Adel Halim, Euronews, Doha.
Spain will be looking to bounce back from their loss to Japan in the group stages when they take on Morocco on Tuesday. This last 16 clash will take place at the Education City Stadium, and despite being favourites, Luis Enrique's men know they'll have to step it up a gear if they want to progress. Morocco could become just the 4th African team to reach the quarter-finals. Later on in the day, Portugal will lock horns with Switzerland, and the focus will likely be on the newly signed Cristiano Ronaldo, as Euronews' Sam Ashu reports.
As always, it's all eyes on Cristiano Ronaldo at the Portuguese training ground as they get set to face Switzerland in the last 16 of the FIFA World Cup here in Qatar. The 5 times Ballon d'Or winner is yet to really find his range in the competition, but he and the rest of Fernando Santos' side will fancy their chances against a nation which haven't reached the quarter-final since way back in 1954. As for the Swiss, well, once again, the former Liverpool and Bayern Munich midfielder Xherdan Shaqiri has proved to be their star man, scoring in that big win, that huge win against Serbia earlier on in the week. Speaking earlier on in this week as well, he was pretty complimentary about the aforementioned Ronaldo, saying you must not write him off. It was almost a warning to the rest of his teammates. You have to think he's got a point as well. The winner of this game plays the winner out of Spain versus Morocco. It's set to be another interesting week here in Qatar. Sam Ashu for Euronews in Doha.